We're working on my nephew's V-Star 2002 1100, and we had a problem, so we tore into it. And apparently this is a problem that's noted for these bikes, so I'll let you tell him what happened with it.
I have a 2002 V-Star 1100. It's about 13,000 miles, and the other night I was coming home and I come off a state road. Everything was fine. I shifted down, I made my left-hand turn. I was cutting down a secondary road. It's about 1.5 miles long. So I get onto the road, I get into third, and I can get into fourth gear in the middle of the road. Well, it wouldn't go into fourth gear. So I coasted down about, I don't know, a 1/4 mile to the stop sign. You know, went down to neutral, went down to first, and made a right-hand turn back on the state road. Next thing I know, I shift to first, I shift to second, I shift to third, still no fourth or fifth gear. So I come to the next stop sign, I pull out real slow, and I start again. I'm thinking, well, maybe my clutch needs adjusted, or, you know, maybe something loose on my gear shifter. You know, it's like 11 o'clock at night, I can't see. So next thing I know, I shift in first, shift in second, no third gear. So now my third, fourth, and fifth gears are gone. So luckily there's a little fire hall there that I'm a member of, about a 1/4 mile down the road. So I pull in there, there's a light, I go in, I borrow a pair of pliers, thinking, well, maybe it's my clutch, try to look at my gear shifter. So I adjusted the clutch, I got back on, I took it up the road a little bit. No, I only got first and second gear. So I rode it home about 1 mile, so this is where I'm at now.
So we looked on YouTube and we found some things about this, what could cause that, where you don't have some gears. One guy mentioned about a screw in there. So we took the side casing off the left side, and we didn't really understand where the screw he's talking about. So of course, drained the oil, pulled the side cover off, and we look in there, and I can see the mechanism for the chain, for the gear shifter. So we look around it, sure enough there's one screw that works out, and down here, if you look down here, I have the shifter piece I took off so I can move it and work with it, and you can see I can pull this back. I took this and just pulled it out, and sure enough there was a screw in here, and I have it here. It was in there further. This was on top. As it comes out, it don't come the whole way because of this piece here. But if you look at that screw, you can tell the top of it's tore up. It was rubbing. This was loose. The guy said there would be a loose screw in here, and that's right where it goes. So to fix that, the screw's all right. But what I'm going to do is I sprayed carb cleaner in that hole. It goes into the motor, it goes down, so it went down in with the oil. And I'm going to spray this screw real good, clean it all. Then we're going to put Loctite, put it in. Then I'm going to get the hammer driver and wrap this in some, because you want this tight. But that was the whole trouble right there, because he had a couple gears. I figured it can't be clutch. If you're out 2 gears or 3 you can't get into, it can't be the clutch, because it'd be with all the gears. And I knew it had to be with the either transmission or out here, and we were hoping it was out here we could get to it. So then we can button this back up and it'll be done. But that screw right back here, you can see your clutch your clutch shell or your magneto things right here, and just off and down to the right, and look right here at this piece right here, and that's that screw. And so I shot carb cleaner in the hole, cleaned it, cleaned the screw real good. So I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on that screw. It only takes a little bit. And to get it in, I got to push this down to get the screw in, or the other way. There it is. I pull up on it. Let me get that in. I need it locked in so it isn't turning. There it's going. There it's pulling it in. It is tight, really tight. Now, something going in, I never usually do, but this time I'm going to use an impact driver to get it in. I'm going to be going that way. See, that's for out. Turn it that way because I'm going to be going in, and it's spring loaded. So I put it on there, and then I'm going to twist it the way it goes in and tap it with a hammer, just easy. And you can see my hand moved, and that should be good. Right there's that screw. Now you can see that thing's not going to hit it. One thing you really want to make sure of is this is the gear shift. There's a washer on it. Make sure that it stays there. It's on. Now there's a rod up here that goes through the gears. It's on the case. It doesn't have a washer or anything. Just so if you hear a washer fall, you'll know it's for this one back here. It's real important to put that on. So we're going to make a new gasket and put it back together. That should be it. Everything should work. But what I'll do is I'll put this back on here and shift it and go through the gears to make sure everything's right. But nobody showed, the one guy said check a screw. We couldn't quite understand where it was, but that's it, right back in here. So if you have a V-Star and it has that trouble, you'll know where to look. And it's not much to take off this. You just gotta take this cover off, then this one up here, and just put everything back the way you have it. You definitely need a new gasket or make one or whatever you're gonna do. If you happen to be working on this and this is your gear shifter, if you pull it out, this unit will come off. But it's no big deal to get it back in. I'd like to show some parts of it. On the bottom, you have this thing here that is spring loaded. That's what turns this for a shifter. There's pins in there. It's almost like the sprocket on a chainsaw is what it reminds you of. And this catches it and turns it and everything. The lobes behind it back in here, those are to make what gear it's in. So there's a little lobe down in here, a little roller, right back in here, and if you can see it, it's spring loaded right there. Down in there, right there. And that spring comes up and it goes straight up here. Rests back here on the casing. The end of the spring's right here and it rests right on there. Then this shaft comes out, comes right between two wires here. And if you have everything like that, you just have to kind of try it and everything. And what we did was I put the shifting thing on there. I went down, got it in first gear, had him move the wheel, went up to neutral, then went up to second, so everything else should be all right. But that screw right there, we have it Loctited and we have it actually shocked in, and I believe that's why this piece is here, so if that does come out, it don't come clear out. Now, I don't like going through gears when a bike isn't running. But we got this all apart and I'm going to check it. The reason I got is when I worked for Honda, the guy I worked for, when we put new bikes together, which I love to do, we always left the gear shift off. He told me don't ever put them on because kids come in, they start banging them, you could get it caught, then you got trouble. So I never usually do it unless I'm doing something like this. But right now it's in neutral. So if you move it a little bit, there's first. Is it in gear?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to go up a little bit to neutral. Right about there.
Yep.
Neutral. Okay. Now I'm going to go up second. There's second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Third.
Yep.
See, it went in. Fourth.
Yep.
Fifth.
Yep.
Okay. Now it's in fifth. Move it. Fourth. Third. Second. I think it went down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One more, about a half, and it should be in neutral. Try it.
Neutral.
You got it.
Yep.
So
Neutral.
now we know we got it fixed. And for this side to go back on, you don't want to get oil on your gasket until you have it sealed up. It shouldn't hurt it, but the kind of gasket we're using, I like the paper gasket. It's kind of a material stuff. I have always shown it. So I want to keep this clean. We used carb cleaner, sprayed in here real good, laid it face down, let it drain, wipe it all down, wipe it, and then we're going to get some cardboard like this. It's thin. What I'm going to do is lay it on here. Make sure you have your two wires, the seal from the oil getting out. There's two rubbers there. They have to be in good shape. Something I talked about before is we have all the screws out of here. They're different lengths. And I learned this years ago from working for Honda. I have a few of them in to start just to hold this on. We're buttoning this back up. But it's like which bolt goes in which hole. Now, if you come in closer, you can see I have a couple in, and they're all sticking out. I'm seeing about that much bolt from here to the head. Once I have them placed in there right, they'll all be sticking out that much. So like, say here, well, you can see it's sticking out real long compared to this one. It's not right. It's in too far. I need one in between. So I just do it like this. There. It's sticking out the same amount. I know that bolt goes, you know, it'll fit there. So anytime you have your bolts mixed up, like some guys will say, oh, you can draw, you know, and put them in a cardboard, what you don't bump them. I just lay them in the down here. I don't worry about it because like these bolts in here, that one goes clear back and just about hits. It's too short. So let's try the next longer one. There it is. It's sticking out about the same as this. Honda, Yamaha, I think Suzuki all do that. Whenever you have the bolts mixed up, just start putting them in, and you can kind of tell, you know, that like these are about right, how much you got to turn in. So if this one's that far out and you get 2 or 3 like that, you know they all have to be the same. So over here, yep, it's sticking out as much as that one. See, I just push it in before I start it. I can tell right away. That's it. That one, you can see how far it's sticking out. It's sticking out that much. Well, it's a lot further than that, so I know I need one of the shorter ones. That's a little bit too close. So there has to be one in here, medium. And that's just the way to do it, is go around each hole. There, that one sticks out exactly like these ones. And it's a lot longer than these ones. But I know it's right, because when I place it in and don't turn it, it's got the same amount sticking out on each one. You can even, you know, I mean, you can tell right away when you put them in. That's the trick of getting the bolts in quick. You can just lay them there on a rag. You don't have to take time to draw and stick them in holes and stuff. Whatever bolt you put in, they all got to stick out about that much, and they'll all be the same. We filmed a segment on this V-Star Monday. This is Wednesday. Well, Tuesday it was still cold here in western Pennsylvania, pretty chilly, but it dried up. We had had snow off and on. Winter's still hanging on. So he wanted to take the V-Star out and try it. So he went out, he called me and he said he was going to go try it. And then he called me after he got done and he told me it never shifted so good. So that screw has been backed out for a while because he was having trouble. A couple of times we would ride and we'd go up to a red light or a stop sign. I'd see him tapping and tapping it like, you know, it was starting to get bad. And as the screw come out, it got worse. So he only had first and second gear, and that cured it, putting it in like that. So if anybody has a V-Star and you have trouble with shifting through the gears like that, check that screw first. That's the easiest thing. You drain the fluid out. You can change oil, one bottle, you know, one big jug of it from Walmart. You need a gasket. I made the gasket. I didn't want, the one we had got before fixing the starter clutch, we didn't like it. It wasn't a good material. We got it. They didn't, when it came, it wasn't in between cardboard flat. It was folded over and it was creased and it was just, but we put it in and it had leaked a little bit too. So Well, I made one and put in, it didn't leak. And I make it out of that paper stuff. I don't use cork, I use the paper type you get at the auto parts. So anybody with that V-Star, I hope this helps you. But that's the first and easiest thing to check is that screw. And it's highly recommended. And the story, you probably have never heard this. This is Wednesday. A week ago, Wednesday, I had a dentist appointment. Had a little wee cavity on the top and a tooth down on the bottom had a filling. It broke out a little wee piece. So I go over Wednesday at my appointment. He drilled the top out, drilled the bottom out. Then the doctor did that, this guy. Then the girl comes in and fills it. So she filled the top one, all done, ready to do the bottom. The power goes out. That was a day we really had high winds. I mean, it was bad. Power goes out. I'm sitting in there in the dark. I got that drilled. Now they can't put a filling in it. So we waited a while, and I mean that, he numbed it all up, so it ain't hurting. So he said, well, we'll put a temporary one in, and you'll have to come back. So she put a temporary one in. So I went back over today and had to have the shot again. But this guy is good. He put that shot back in the back of I always thought went through the gum. He went back, like, it kind of felt like where your tonsils are at or something. He went back in there and put that shot. Man, it numbed the whole side of my face. This dentist is great. Man, am I glad I have him, because I have no pain at all. Even when the stuff wears off after all that. And they took the temporary out, put the permanent one in, and made sure it was fitting good and everything, all done. And I said, only me. I sat there in the dark. I'm like, I was that close to being done and out of there. That was my last filling. I mean, I had my teeth all cleaned and they polished them and all that stuff had been done before. And oh my God, that one tooth broke up there. He fixed that and did a beautiful job. You can't even tell. I thought, I'm done after that. Just go back for the cleanings. I got that close and that power goes off. I'm like, oh, man, I'd have rather had it go off on my house. I come home, I have power. I'd rather have it come off on the house and get that done with. So I went over today and that doctor said hello. He said, we got power today. I said, I should have brought my generator so you could at least get me done if it goes off again. But it worked out all right. And then my buddy Ron, I was using some of my F11. My nephew, we talked about ordering some. So they have like one kit. If you buy two, it's a little cheaper. If you buy the 3 kits, you can look it up, Formula 11 on eBay. He bought a gallon of it. He bought a gallon. I said, you buy a kit, I'll buy a kit. He said, no, you work on my bikes, I'm buying it. He said, I'll give you half. So he bought a gallon. It's coming. It should come any day. I said, oh my God, that stuff lasts a long time. I said, a whole gallon. But he's so good-hearted. I said, you don't owe me nothing. No, I'm buying it. Yes, he bought it. So it's coming, and we're going to split it, and he has to get a little spray bottle for his. But I have so much fun. He was up here on his V-Rod today. He said the shifter wasn't just set right. Shifter again, the pedal. So I showed him how, I adjusted it for him. The pedal needed up higher so he could handle it. But he's loving that bike. And the V-Star, he figured, well, he's got the V-Rod. He'd sell the V-Star. It's running so great after we fixed that shifter and everything. He goes, I hate to sell it now. So I don't know what he's going to do. It's so funny.